Hello, in this video I'll be showing you how to find the vertices and foci of an ellipse and then also graph the ellipse. So we're given this equation, and this equation is going to tell us a few things right off the bat. So first it's going to tell us that our long axis or our major axis is going to be on the x because it's 81, which is larger than 4. And if you remember the standard equation for an ellipse, it's written in this form. I'll write the equation in case you don't know it. It's x squared over r squared plus y squared over r squared equals 1. Okay, so we're going to rewrite this, and we're going to rewrite it as x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. So since x is our major axis or our long axis, then y is going to be our short axis, since that's the only option left. And a good way to remember this is just to remember that a is always going to be greater than b in the case of an ellipse. And your a is always going to be your long axis and also where your foci are going to be. So I guess we can start actually graphing it. So if we write it here, the center is basically given. It's going to just be 0, 0 since we have nothing in parentheses here. So start off with the x. So since it's r squared, the a is going to be 9 squared. So it's going to be 9 on both sides. So right out to here, 9. Right out to here, -9. So this is our major axis. And then I guess we can do the smaller one, b. So it's going to be 2, since b is equal to 2 squared. I should actually rewrite this. There. Hopefully that's easier to understand. So now we're going to go up 2, and we're going to go down -2. And we can actually piece this all together to form our ellipse. So there's our little ellipse there. And now we need to find the foci. Now we know that the foci are going to be on the x-axis, so we can essentially draw spots for it. Now, to find the foci, it's a super easy formula. It's going to be c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. C squared is the foci. Or the square root of c squared, which is c, is going to be your foci. So you want to plug in a squared and b squared. So it's going to be c squared is equal to 81 minus 4. I'll move this up a little bit. So now we have c squared is equal to 77. C equals plus or minus the square root of 77. Remember, when you take a square root, you always have to do the positive and the negative version. So now our foci are essentially going to be negative square root 77 comma 0, and then square root 77 comma 0. Since it's the square root of 77, it breaks down into 7 times 11 square root, and it's not really easy. You can't really factor that or derive a square root out of it, so we just leave it at this. So these points right here are the foci, and if you want to put that, I'm not totally sure what the square root of 77 is. I don't have a calculator on me, but you could round it and then put it on there. And the vertices are essentially going to be your long axes. So the vertices for this problem are going to be -9 comma 0 and then 9 comma 0. So that's essentially how to find the foci, the vertices, and graph your ellipse. And yeah, hope this video was helpful. Okay, so this is the next question and our next example. We're finding the vertices and the foci for 4x squared plus y squared equals 16, and then we're graphing it. So this is where you need to remember the original or standard equation for ellipses. So the standard equation is x squared over r squared plus y squared over r squared equals 1. So we need to make that 16 on this side to a 1. So we're going to rewrite it as 4x squared plus y squared equals 16. And then we're going to divide everything by 16. So this cancels out, becomes a 1. And this can cancel out and become a 1. And this can cancel out and become a 4. So now our equation is going to be x squared over 4 plus y squared over 16 equals 1. So now in the equation in this form, it's telling us a few things. First, it's telling us that our long axis or major axis, where the foci are going to be, is the y, because it has a larger, the axis is larger on the y, so it's going to be the a. And our b is going to be the x squared, which is 4 because it's shorter. Now we can start graphing it. And again, our center is going to be 0, 0, since we have nothing affecting the x or y. If our center was something other than 0, 0, it would be in the form of x minus whatever it is plus y minus whatever it is. So that's essentially what it would be if the center wasn't 0, 0. But you can forget about that for this problem. So since our center is at 0, 0, y, our major radius for the y is going to be 16 in total. So 4 squared would give us the 16. So it's going to be 4 up and then 4 down. So it's going to be up 4, down 4. That's our major axis. And the x is going to be 2. So we're going to have a -2 here. Oh, this is -4. And this is a 2 here. So then we can piece it together, and we get our little baby ellipse here. And then after you've done that, then we can figure out the vertices. So our vertices are going to be the major axis points, which are this one and this one. So the vertices for this equation are going to be 0, 4 and 0, -4. So there's the first part of the problem done. And then now we need to find the foci. So remember in the last example, the equation c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. So essentially it's just the major axis minus the shorter axis is going to give us the foci. So it's going to be c squared, and then we plug in our points. So this would help to rewrite it actually. So I guess I'll just rewrite it small really quick here. So remember, to make sure you don't get the axes mixed up, you can rewrite it as y squared over a squared plus x squared over b squared. Since you want to remember that the large axis is always going to be a, and a is always going to be greater than b. So our large axis is y, so we have it on the a squared, and our short is the b. So then when we plug in our numbers, it's going to be 16 minus 4. So c squared is going to equal 12. And then we want to take the square root. So 6 is going to be plus or minus the square root of 12. And 12 breaks down into some nice numbers. So we can do plus or minus the square root of 3 times 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. So we're going to be left with 2 times the square root of 3. So now that we've done that, we can officially find the foci. So our foci are going to be 0, 2 square root 3, and then 0, -2 square root 3. Now if you graph that, it'll probably be somewhere around between 2 and 3. So we can just say, let's say like right here and right there, there's your foci. And that's the equation. So there's your vertices, there's your foci, and then there's your graph. And that's how you solve an ellipse in this form. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any input whatsoever as how I can make it better, please leave a comment, and thank you for watching.